Today's video is a long one, guys, so buckle up. Is this like a good distance? Okay, so today's gonna be a long video, so buckle up. Today we are going over the secrets, a hypnotist journey to the secrets of the Sphinx by Sarah Breskman Cosme. She is the one that wrote the Journey to Atlantis that I reviewed about a month ago. And I just finished reading this one a couple days ago. And I am going to share with you the information that I found was the most important to share. And once again, this is like a really big book. This is like the size of the Atlantis one. So I just wrote down literally the stuff that I found interesting, and it's literally directly from her book. So none of this information is mine. I am just regurgitating, basically repeating the information that she shared, just so that you guys have it. So it's just gonna be probably all over the place, so in case things don't make sense or are out of context, just so you know. There are elements within it that are from an asteroid that hit the Earth a very long time ago. The asteroid did not leave a crater, but instead embedded itself within this very large rock. The asteroid was from somewhere else, and it has a very conductive power to it. It magnetizes, harnesses, and holds this energy if it's directed in the right direction. It has a roughness to it as well. It's not smooth. It feels very rough in some places, but when they cut it with the lasers, it comes off as very smooth. It has a power to it, though. It can hold time. It can hold it in a way that it can stop time as well. It's strange. It can stop time or slow it down as you get closer to it. It's a very conductive and very useful energy. The Sphinx was specifically built on this rock for this reason. The colonizers who came to see this planet searched, and they searched for something that would be a good conduit, and they found this. The information that they were planning on storing in this rock needed to have a generator, almost like a solar panel that keeps the information alive, energized. It keeps the energy from being redundant. They needed it to be kept as a time capsule. They have technology and information that they want to preserve, and this is the best way to store this information. The Sphinx facade is important as well, and it is specifically meant to help humans who came across it question what the Sphinx is and where it came from. And it will give those who allow themselves to question this a sense of belonging to something bigger. It allows them to start thinking outside of their minds, and this was the reason why they chose this structure you call the Sphinx. When the first colonizers came to Earth, it was part of their mission to create this vault containing this information, the information of this whole experiment and this whole creation. This information is very alive. The energy and what is stored within the Sphinx has its own personality, its own field of energy, and its own force. The reason the Sphinx first looked like a jungle cat was because that was the apex predator there. The left paw is where the entrance begins. Then it will go underneath into the belly, down into these long tunnels that look very boxy. The tunnels go from being very boxy and wide to narrower and more rectangular and longer. The point is to go from the widening of the mind into this long tunnel, and it's supposed to create a sense of transcendence as you go through it. It's not an optical illusion, but this does something to the brain as you travel from this larger white space into this narrow, longer tunnel. There is no lock and key in this situation. It is truly opened by the change within the people around it. The raising of their minds and the changing of the way that they are. The information is coming in through other places and is absorbed into the Sphinx. It seems it absorbs information from these beacon-like antennas that are all over the Earth, that are feeding this information back to the Sphinx. It's almost as if the Sphinx is a mega hard drive made to store this information so that we can be awakened on a new level once we are ready to receive this, and to be brought to a new point of vibrational harmony with it. When we are ready, we will begin to access the information found within the Sphinx and understand the full picture, and that is the reason for it. but it will be like a download. It will not be someone telling you a story of our history and existence. It will be a very quick download that would change you very drastically, because you will fully understand this history for what it really is and how you are connected to it. You would understand how deep it all has gone and how much further it will go. There is a massive continuum, like a figure 8 of ebbing and flowing that continuously changes over time. Every time we make a decision, the beings building the Sphinx were beings who were not human or human hybrids. They are something else entirely. They looked like sparkly light beings because they took that intermediate form to come and do this. If you are not on Earth to carry out a mission with the basic early humans, then you do not need to take a form. By not taking a form, it also allowed them to go back and forth to their home planet. Because when you take a human form, it grounds you here and keeps you here once you take it. There was an explosion a long time ago that happened very close to Mars that extinguished all life on Mars. This was before the Earth was even fully formed, so colonists wanted to use Mars as an outpost. The beings that lived on Mars for a while were very tall and gray, like tall grays, but they had more bug-like features to them. Their mouths looked like a praying mantis, as so did their legs. There are infinite star systems, and souls have all been to many, but some get stuck in a star system when they make a plan and never finish it. No matter what the beings or species are, we all have similar developmental goals and ways to evolve that we are all trying to achieve, no matter where we are or where we come from. And even though we are all from different planets, different star systems, and different realms, we are still all part of that same source. Even though there can be a difference in appearance or history, it all comes back to that same singular golden glowing orb of oneness that is everything. The source didn't come from anywhere. It is infinite and very much something that has always been, and we continue to come from it and return to it. Many times these beings talk about their interactions with humans. They have to keep tabs on the humans and interact with them for many reasons, but one of the reasons is so that they can understand how their evolvement is progressing. Human evolution is important to all the beings as a whole because they are affected by whatever humanity chooses, because we are all interlinked in this system. I remember I saw small pyramids all around Atlantis. Not large ones, smaller pyramids that seemed to be dotted through their landscape where they live. The pyramids had within them these clear crystals that didn't have color, but some were very opaque. The clearer ones were the stronger ones. They look like wands, but both ends have a sharp point to them, and they were suspended inside these pyramids with what looks like a small metal object. The metal was in the shape of a UFO, a roundish shape that comes to a point at the end inside the pyramid. That was what the shape of the metal that held the crystals looked like. They were not donut shaped, but they were round on top and pointy at the ends. And inside of these devices were crystals that were placed onto what looks like a two-pronged metal holder. And from this is a great white light that came out of these pyramids. It wasn't hot, just very bright. They were very powerful, and it didn't feel like electricity was coming out of them, but some other type of immense power. The power from these pyramids was so great that you could feel it without being there. It was used to power Atlantis, and it came from an energy grid system that was created very early on, and it was dug out along these canals when the originator of Atlantis structured his empire. This energy grid had been upgraded and repaired over the years, but it existed and remained intact for thousands and thousands of years. It was compatible with the rings of water that went around the capital of Atlantis, as well, and the water and the energy system worked together. When we are in the in-between, when we are being shown and reviewing our lives and planning our next existence, the traumas we have not released affect how we plan out our next existence, and the more of it we can remove doing our incarnation really allows us to open up different opportunities. The way a person can remove their trauma so they can move past it is just by merely facing it. Through the art of reading even, one may recognize and release these traumas or start the process of these healings. A total remembering, though, is not needed. Just like the mermaids, the giants were a product of the hybridization experimentation that happened early on when seeding this earth. Also, humans were made into giants to help their communities. The colonizers brought many different genetics here from other parts of the universe to see if having larger humans would help with building and protection. The colonizers wanted to see if the larger humans would help those who couldn't protect themselves. So they created these, what you would call giants, in order to make life here on Earth easier. But it became a threat instead of a help, and the group of giant humans sought to hide within the Earth, is what I see from this perspective. They were hunted by the same people they were meant to protect because they were seen as a threat. It looks like there was so much violence against them. Those that still exist appear to live within these caverns that are within the Earth. They are able to protect, they are able to construct these tunnels themselves, and these tunnels all connect, and underneath Antarctica looks like it used to be one convergence point. There are many different beings that live within the Earth, but there are certain places where some of them meet, converge, and share their ideas. The convergence point is where they learn from each other and get updates on what is happening in the outside world. We are so much larger than our bodies on this planet. We are a lot of energy being pushed into a small human body, and that is very uncomfortable for many people. The light, the energy that we really are looks huge. It could easily be larger than the size of your home. That is how large the orbit that we have is. And in the bodies that we have, there is a lot of energy that does radiate out of us still. We have trouble containing it. It looks like that is what our aura is, this bubble of energy around us that is our personal reflection. For each person, it could be a different color as a reflection of their current state in this lifetime as they go towards whatever they set out to accomplish in this existence. It would be helpful to know the color of your aura so that you could meditate on that color and feel what that means to you. If you feel specific colors coming across to you very strongly, try to dwell afterwards on what the color means to you or represents in your life, what it links you to, what your accomplishments or goals are in this next phase of your life that you are in. Look and see if that is a color that suits you, who you truly are, if that suits who you truly are, and try to take on the feeling of the other color that you would like to embrace, that you would like your energy to take on. Try to simplify it down into a feeling of color, because what comes across very strongly is that it is almost like an eternal mood ring that we underutilize greatly. We are these giant spheres of energy that can form ourselves and squish ourselves into these bodies or inanimate objects or these different existences. So how do we squish into a little baby? It's not that hard to do since it's energy, but it really looks squished in there, almost like a zipper being tugged in the back and zipped up all the way to the head to keep us in. I feel like it stays in, but for many it has these moments where it's too powerful and they feel this leaking or burst of this energy coming out. For some, it can be very unhelpful in their current life, because for many it may come off as a sign of mental instability, but many people with this type of leak don't understand all this energy coming out of them. From this perspective, it looks like a lot of mental illness can be truly understood in the afterlife as simply just having too much energy put into one specific body, or a leak of it from some places on the body where it's not staying within and causing a change in the way that the person with this leak perceives things. It's too much of a switch back and forth for them, where they feel as if they can't consistently stay within this human body for the human experience. They go back and forth between the spherical all-knowingness and the physical body. So this causes too much instability for them in this current reality. But how does this leak happen? So it is entirely up to the individual as they are planning their lives and looking through their other lives. Sometimes having this leak of energy is something that they choose, but for others, it is something that will happen when they hit a point of uncomfortableness within this existence. They know that there is something happening within them and they have to let that energy out somehow. This could possibly be the cause of schizophrenia or multiple personalities, where a person isn't sure why they are switching between ways of being or unsure of who they are, but it is just energy inside of them going rampant and not being able to deal with the confines of the body. Is there anything a person can do, though, if they believe this is happening to them? So the answer is yes. By understanding this information, they can deeper understand themselves, and why this is happening to them. It is important for them to understand that it isn't their fault that they have this unbound eternal energy that isn't a right fit for them. And many of these existences that people choose for themselves, they sometimes come to the realization that their body isn't the right fit. But sometimes, instead of ending the existence, they persist with their lifetime anyway, and choose to deal with these issues. For some people, this is a road that they have chosen to go down. It doesn't mean that they need to end the existence. It just means that they need to better understand what is happening to them. It can help a person's awakening to understand their eternal role in this greater project, experiment that is never ending. So at one point, everything was just one energy until it fractioned itself off and continued to divide and divide until we could all have these similar, smaller experiences that we feel are individual, but we are actually just part of this larger collective. In the in-between, we all come back to contribute to this collective that we are. What is that like to give back to the collective? Well, it feels very fulfilling because you can't add anything wrong. Everything you have done, accomplished, and seen is greatly appreciated, no matter what you have done or failed to do while you are in a life. In this resting place, are you also aware of your future lives? Well, only the next existence, but our future is dependent on what we are doing in this current life. We might not go to another lifetime here on Earth. We might go to other places or other Earths, but where we go next depends on where we are now. It depends on how that works out and what we are to accomplish in the next round. So the people full of negativity have been strategically placed in your lives to create for you the questioning that allows humans to move away from things they don't want and to create new what they want. The negativity has served a purpose, and without it, there would not be growth. The negativity is not a result of the individual that you would describe as negative. They are in fact playing a specific role, and the negativity is actually the energy that has been thrown from the universe to be expelled by these individuals for these specific reasons. Okay, why wouldn't some other being be there in the new world to guide? Why is there this hybridization program? So the other beings are not something that you would look at and say, this is us, and this is our new world. We would feel like visitors. When there is a part of you that you are rejoining and growing onto, then it is and feels like your new world. This is, that it makes sense. It's basically understanding why we have to be hybridized with the grays, because if part of ourselves is not included into the mix, then we wouldn't see it as us being a part of it. You know what I'm saying? What you wish to manifest has to truly serve you. You are bigger than just your conscious deciding, because you are in so many different places at once and on so many different levels. You can't, in this conscious body, truly connect with all of these pieces to fully understand if something isn't serving you. So it can easily become disappointing for humans to use this if they do not understand the full picture of why they are not getting what they have asked for when manifesting. Sometimes it will not serve them in the grand scheme of what they are here to accomplish. We are all just eternal beings that are hell-bent on having experience. If there is no experience, then there is nothing. If there is no experience, then there is nothing, you guys. And experience is what we are all looking for. We will never, ever be able to experience everything. And that is the only thing that keeps a continuum going. It's the knowledge that we can try as hard as we'd like, but having experience is what keeps us going. And that is why energy cannot die. It cannot be killed. If you do not have experience, you are constantly bored. You are stuck. You are stagnant. Experience is the opposite of that stagnation. Anything is better than stagnation. Even the worst of an existence is better than stagnation. There is a need to continuously keep your energy active, to keep your energy fluid and moving and growing, and the energy itself changes over time. It evolves, and that is the ultimate goal of all of this activity, of all of this movement. It is the evolvement of this eternal energy inside you. The purpose is to continuously add onto it, to evolve it, and to grow. There are some that are not doing as well as we are, whether these are planets, parallel universes, dimensions, or focusing points of energy. There are so many other places where other beings exist that have parallel understandings to the world that we are in. There are many options as to where you can go, and when we choose, we create alternate possibilities and realities. We have to understand our multidimensional nature. There really are parts of us here and parts of us out there that are on other colonies that we have set up throughout the universe. We're not the only colony or the only other planet. And there are other colonies and planets that have had disastrous results. Some of them have just been abandoned. Others have just done themselves in so many times that they refuse to restart their experiment and have just let themselves die. Some planets have just been left cold and bare, and now why are we so isolated in space? Because when we seeded Earth, we were looking for a very unique outcome to come from the isolation. If we did not know as humans that there were others out there like us, how would we behave? What would happen to us if we were to eventually find out? There are so many things that come into play with this isolation that it becomes a very unique variable in this experiment. Why haven't we been told the truth about extraterrestrials? Well, because there is a very strong element of control that guides and guards this. The governing fear of losing workforce is too much to risk for countries that have production quotas and things that need to be done and met. There was too much money and power hinging on our ignorance and complacency. We are programmed to keep working and we are kept busy. When we know that there are other races out within other universes, it can allow for the mind to question and possibly think in a very different way. And that is very dangerous for people who make money off of those who don't have to think very hard. And it all comes down to money and the loss of money. But there is a great effort to help us move through this transition and ascension. Some of us will stay because we know it is our mission and our duty to see this through to the end, but others will know that it is fine to go. And it is time to transition and go to what this has always been meant to be, this idyllic place that no longer has the fear virus destroying us and turning us against each other. Our Earth experiment won't end for another 1,000,000 years or so. Everything is recorded in the Akashic records, but more importantly, everything is recorded within the Sphinx and broadcast out. All of our lifetimes are stored within this communication. It is available for our other versions of ourselves on other planets to see so that they can keep tabs on our progress. I always see that there is a being named 3 who will come back with information about the Sphinx. There is a portal within the Sphinx that allows one to time travel. It can only be used by people who know how to use it, otherwise it can be dangerous. There are beings who use this portal to move in between different timelines. They have done this occasionally. It is one of the ways that they secretly clean the Earth's oceans a little at a time without humans noticing. In one of the regressions, the client is taken back to a time when they lived in ancient Egypt. They figured out that they had a connection to the stars and knew about the knowledge and knew a lot of truth about the Sphinx and the beings that created it. And there were a group of evil men that performed these dark rituals to secrete the knowledge out of the client in that past life because they wanted more power. And the way to have that was with the knowledge that the Sphinx contained. These evil men were kicked out of Earth eventually by the Galactic Federation because these dark beings had consistently, time and time again, broke agreements with Earth beings. They were controlling humans through mind control and yet somehow have found a way to control humans still, but from a distance, despite them being kicked off the planet. I am very aware of my purpose on this planet. I am to be the eyes and ears of what is happening here on Earth and report it back to my home planet. That's what one of the clients said. The Sphinx surpasses just one planet. It belongs to a collective, a lineage, and it cannot be corrupted. And I can feel its consciousness. It is pure, uncorruptible, and connected to a very strong energy field that it sits in. The energy field allows the Sphinx to be on Earth and also beyond Earth at the same time. There is an energy within it that connects it to the cosmos through the energy portal. This portal will be beneficial in the new Earth. The pyramids are one particular access point. They are acting like portals. They're drawing energy from specific spots in the universe, not just this universe, but other sources. The Earth has been bathed in a healing energy for quite some time now. It's high frequency healing energy. It comes through every pyramid portal The energy that's interacting through each of these is creating a prism of light. And that prism of light is interacting with these sources as well, and is creating a complex geometric shape. And it even has compartments within it that are crystal-like in nature. And the earth is part of this healing space. The earth has been included in this, and that has helped the energy of the earth to increase in frequency because of this. There's a part of earth that's still very sick. The consciousness of the dark beings that have been on this planet, they're extracting a lot. They're taking from the earth like a parasite, sucking the earth of its life. That's what has been causing the sickness. From a higher perspective, it would look as if one side of the earth is covered in this white, bluish light frequency. The other side of the earth is still covered in this sickness. This white light frequency is slowly transcending into the other side, consumed with darkness, and it's doing its best work as quickly as it can to heal the sickness. The whole planet will be covered in the white light eventually because it doesn't have a choice. There are different species of beings that are asserting their control on this earth from warring planets, so they're of that negative frequency, and they are still affecting Earth. They are trying to hold their ground because they enjoy taking the Earth's resources, because that's just what they do. They go from planet to planet and do this, and their favorite resource for them is humans. They use humans through their fear. These dark beings are now trying as hard as they can to control as many as possible, because they themselves are reacting out of fear, because they can see that this white light frequency is taking over this Earth planet. They know it, they see it, and they're trying to control how long they can keep this darkness here. So the more people are plugged into this darkness, the longer it will take for the light to be absorbed. These warring dark beings are just buying time, and they're going to try to drag it out as long as possible. It's what they do. They want their influence to remain on Earth as long as they can, but they all know that once the frequency gets to a certain point, they will not be able to stay here anymore. Their energy will no longer be compatible. Okay, you have to read page 138 and 139. They're so important for you to read, but I cannot read them or my video will get taken down or flagged, and that is not happening. So just make sure you buy the book so you can read those 2 pages. Compassion during this time is important. There are souls at so many different stages of evolution and awareness. There are many beings that are very deeply asleep, while there are souls who are on the brink of full enlightenment on this planet right now. There's just so much diversity that someone who is on the brink of awakening can be living next to someone who is lifetimes away from awakening. You have many beings living in completely different paradigms, and the natural tendency is to judge where others are in their evolution when it's not the same place that you are in. And both sides are doing this. And so the less judgment there is, the better this transition will go. It's not that judgment is going to do anything terrible, but releasing judgment will make things easier for you all as individuals. So just unburden yourself by allowing yourself not to be so judgmental. You will help support your own awakening that way. So hold the compassion, feel that compassion, because what is happening here is very unusual in many ways. And one day you will understand just how lucky you are not to be asleep at this time, because those who are asleep are caught in a very difficult situation. They simply do not have enough time to learn the lessons at the pace that human beings learn. At this point, if you are not already awake, then you have to be a really fast learner. However, the environment on Earth is ripe for learning quickly right now. There's a lot of help, a lot of very, very benevolent, powerful energy that exists on this planet right now, but you have to be open enough to even want to use it and to believe that it's there. Some have not gotten to that place of openness, and so they are stuck in their fear, unable to tap into those higher realms. But even they will see very quickly, once they pass into spirit form, they will see exactly what's happening on this planet, and they will understand this boundary between dark and light right now. They may not understand or believe that there is a battle of dark and light happening while they are in the human form. For some, it will take death to see it. But once they die, they'll see it right away. All souls passing out of body now, out of this lifetime, are waking up quickly after death. So the Sphinx acts like a radio signal between Earth and its planet of origin, as well as multiple other planets. It is constantly receiving new messages from multiple planets at this time. The Sphinx has its own consciousness. It is a conscious being, Just as other conscious beings, it has chosen to carry out its mission here on Earth. The Sphinx is here to act as a transporter, radio signal, and a portal to receiving many different languages and frequencies. Therefore, many beings from many different planets use the Sphinx. In a sense, the Sphinx was placed here as a base, even before any living beings arrived. We needed a radio signal set up here as a connector. The Sphinx connects us to many different bases and planets that are involved in the work here on Earth. The Sphinx was set up for that purpose. The Sphinx has remained at a very high state of consciousness. For the entire duration of its time on Earth, it has remained unimpeded. Humans can communicate with the Sphinx. They can practice communicating with the Sphinx telepathically within their mind. You can practice tuning into that specific signal. It is there for everyone. It is there for everyone who would like to learn, but by doing this, it is possible to have more communications with the rest of your family who do not live on this planet. This will make your job on Earth easier. The Sphinx contains items that are highly valued for Earth beings. The contents are more linked to Earth's work. It is less important to us and our work. The Sphinx is a doorway to the underground. You can even imagine a stairway underneath the Sphinx that goes to an underground world. There are some colonies of hybrids and other beings there. The Sphinx contains portals to many different dimensions. You would even say that to enter into the Sphinx is to pass through these dimensions. Hence, it is not what we would call a safe place for humans to go to unless you know how to work with that energy. One must enter the Sphinx in their energetic form, not their physical form, so that there will not be as much of a risk involved. Because if you enter physically, you may end up physically leaving this dimension and entering another without knowing where you will be going. This is the same phenomenon that has happened in the Bermuda Triangle. In the time to come, many different beings of alien will inhabit Earth alongside humans. Not too long from now, they will help to rebuild sustainable communities and introduce free energy we cannot discuss at this time. There are many who are here to support the stabilization of the frequency of Earth. Many of them are really here more for the Earth. They anchor in the frequencies and are helping to stabilize frequencies through their chemistry, through their body. Many of them are like vessels for higher awareness. Many of them work with inner Earth kingdoms because the inner Earth is a big part of this process. The inner Earth kingdoms are ancient and have been here for so long. They are working alongside many different alien volunteers to stabilize the frequency on this planet. It had to be done from the inside out of the core to the outer layers so that it would be stable. After the ETs start coming to Earth and live amongst these humans, these volunteers will no longer need to take on a human body anymore to live on Earth. The information that can be revealed is that we are a fractal of the Creator, not as a totality of a being, but as a consciousness, and that consciousness does not judge wrong or right, but responds to the information that is believed and produced from each and every being. And over time, those on the Earth were persuaded into belief that they were not in control of their own consciousness and decisions. So therefore, they looked outside of themselves for leadership and decisions. And the truth comes from the individual understanding that they are the Creator themselves, that they are a fractal of that consciousness, and so therefore have the power to be able to create from their own mind and frequency of the heart. The spiritual heart has its own vibration and its own existence just as much as the physical heart has its own existence. It is possible to experience a reality based on what it is that you create. So if you are focusing your energy on what you believe to be true for you, regardless of what the collective reality is, you will be experiencing a reality that is so very different from one that is focused elsewhere. And the change in the dimensions will be very apparent in who and where one is focused at one time. The next 10 years will be a great source of learning and expansion, but each person needs to understand the root source of all consciousness in the universe in order to understand how you can use consciousness to see the future. All ETs go beyond the speed of light to go into more conscious dimensions. And the way that the ETs communicate are with thought and the consciousness field. Each being in the universe is a blueprint of the totality of all consciousness. And once you understand this, you will ascend because you are actually the one with the power. The future is waiting for us as much as we are for it. The Sphinx was used to create a higher frequency because of the formation of the geometry on the surface of the Earth where it is placed. It creates a direct channel to the center of the earth as well and elevates the frequency. It is designed to draw out and bring in light to the earth. There's a pyramid shape and labyrinth under the Sphinx. There is a very elaborate labyrinth underneath, but very deep, closer to the center. There are several purposes. It connects the inner earth consciousness, the communities within the inner earth, to the different pockets within the earth, like veins, and it helps to distribute the light. It is a key in the earth's ascension, and it is a way for the inner earth beings and the humans on the surface to exchange energy and information. So last but not least, this is the last note that I have. The secret within the Sphinx is that good always wins in the end. It is a secret that you have all hidden from yourselves. You have hidden this information only so that you could rediscover it in this way. The beauty of remembering is why you are here. If good didn't win, we wouldn't be here. But it's a secret, since this is all just one big game in which we all play different roles. When we each return back to oneness, we see that it was just so fun to watch evil even try.